Iowa has stayed in front of this effort.
We talking about the same Iowa? Vice President Mike Pence at the White House this week praising the great success story that is Iowa. Iowa leading the pack, rolling out testing at a record pace. Got lots of testing troubles in Iowa. People are waiting like 2 weeks plus for their results. I'm not sure why the White House thinks that things are going awesome in Iowa. They do have testing trouble. They have several of the fastest growing outbreaks in the country in Iowa. They did terribly with social distancing. They actually never did a stay-at-home order, and they have lots of, don't take it from me. I will say the local press in that part of the country itself appears mystified by this characterization from the White House that Iowa's doing great. The Quad City Times out of eastern Iowa ran with this headline, quote, Pence calls Iowa success story as virus-related deaths and hospitalizations climb. The Des Moines Register made a similar point, quote, although Pence this week called Iowa a success story in its handling of the pandemic, rates of infection continue to climb across the state. One columnist with the Omaha World in Nebraska simply tweeted a picture of that success storyline from Pence with this as her caption, Are we in the upside down? Against that backdrop, Vice President Pence visited Iowa today. He ended up arriving an hour late after the news broke that his press secretary had tested positive for coronavirus. Because of that, other staff members on board his flight were asked to deplane and go get tested. So the vice president was late. By the time he actually landed in Iowa, Iowa was dealing with a flood of headlines about one of the meat processing plants in the state that Pence had been bragging about on Wednesday at the White House, bragging about how great it was that it was reopening. Ahead of yesterday's reopening of the Tyson meat processing plant in Waterloo, Iowa, the governor, Kim Reynolds, had soberly announced that more than 400 workers at that plant had tested positive. That was yesterday. Today, as Pence was finally belatedly landing, the state was grappling with headlines about the fact that it's not actually 400 workers from that one plant, like the governor said just yesterday. Turns out to be more than 1,000 workers at that one plant in Waterloo, Iowa, who have become infected. More than 1,000 workers from one plant. That's not to mention their families, their community contacts, nothing. Just the workers, over 1,000 cases, one plant. Iowa. More than doubled since the governor's sober assurances yesterday. For whatever reason, the White House seems very invested in lauding Iowa as a great success story. If I had to pick a state, I wouldn't pick them.